Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shawn and Sus show. In this series, we break down one scenario in each NFL division that could potentially break fantasy football. In this edition, we'll be discussing the AFC East, specifically the Jets and Justin Fields. And the potential scenario is, what if Justin Fields isn't him and the Jets aren't what they hope to be under new head coach Aaron Glenn? So, Sus, I'll let you take it away.
Now, I imagine our viewers right now are probably losing their minds because Justin Fields is everyone's favorite, quarterback around pick 100 overall. And I just totally do not get it. I mean, guys, I just need everyone to take a deep breath, take a step back from ADP. We've been drafting. We're in our rhythm. We have our habits. We like to dream of upside, but we are taking Justin Fields, the quarterback who has been benched and banished from every spot that he's been in so far in the league, including the team that took him first round. They've banned it. They said he's no good. He's not good at football. And all the data backs this up. And now he gets people act like this is like a real legit deal for Justin Fields. Justin Fields got $20 million for this particular season to play football. It's $15 million less than Sam Darnold got, who people take 80 picks later and they treat like he has job security concerns. We're talking about Justin Fields, simply not a good quarterback. And if you look at his implied season-long passing totals, Vegas actually agrees that he has significant benching risk. His DraftKings prop for season-long passing yards, everyone at home, make your little guess in your head. I'll give you 1 second. You get to make your guess for what the Justin Fields passing yardage line is. Go. Okay. 2,550 yards. I'm guessing you said something that was 3,200. Nah. 2550. So he is not, and his week one line is about like 200 yards or something. So he's implied to play like 12, 13 games. Maybe gets hurt, whatever. But they don't really bake in like that many games of injury. He is implied to get benched at some point, and that makes sense because Justin Fields is not set up to succeed. He has Garrett Wilson, who's a really good wide receiver one, not like truly elite, but really good. Brees Hall is a really good running back one when he's healthy, which has been an if so far. Now I'm into Brees Hall. I think he's a insanely good talent. Last few years, 2024, he was banged up a bit. I'm looking past it as the offensive line has improved. But you get beyond those two guys. We talk about how good is the weakest piece of the offense and what can we do with that. Mason Taylor's a rookie that I like to take at the end of drafts, somewhat from a talent perspective. A lot of it is just from the volume that he'll come into. And when you get down to wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3, you're looking at Josh Reynolds. You're looking at Malachi Corley, Arian Smith. Like, what are we doing at wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 and for the Jets? How is Justin Fields going to have the supporting cast he needs to march a team down the field against NFL level defenses with his inability to make the second and third progression in his reads? He's going to hyper target on the Garrett Wilson. So kudos to Garrett Wilson for that. But beyond that, at a certain point, they're just going to start double teaming and bracketing Garrett Wilson, limiting his ability. And it's not going to hit every time. So I think functionally, this offense is not going to score a lot of points on a half PPR site. Well, for quarterbacks in general, you need touchdowns. I don't care how many rushing yards you have. You still need to score touchdowns to hit that level. And I get it that like the rushing yards provide some sort of floor, but like, I don't know why we're not treating Justin Fields a little bit closer to not Daniel Jones in terms of like, we know Justin Fields is the week one starter, but I actually think, and this is going to be maybe a hot take to some of the kids at home, Tyrod Taylor is such tougher competition than Anthony Richardson to a new coaching staff. Like, Tyrod Taylor, when he has played with Garrett Wilson last year, I think he had like 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He is lighting it up to Garrett Wilson. And every opportunity Tyrod has had in the league, he's been at least a serviceable passer. He's been a better passer in the NFL than Justin Fields. He gets through his progressions better than Justin Fields. I'm not saying Tyrod Taylor is like this elite guy, but he is like better as a quarterback than Justin Fields, who is being treated as like, the Jets are reeling coming off of the Aaron Rodgers experience. They have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. They're throwing shit against the wall and seeing if it sticks. and it's not going to stick. It's Justin Fields that we're talking about. And if you put Justin Fields like on the Eagles or the Bengals or like some crazy offense with all these weapons, maybe I could squint and see where it works out. But you can't tell me Justin Fields has the worst wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 duo in the NFL and tell me this is going to work out. This is like the classic, like we look back and it's like week 6 and week 7. It's like, oh, obviously throwing to Josh Reynolds and Arian Smith was not going to work out. Obviously the Jets are 1-6. Obviously people are already complaining and just saying, shut it down and tank for Arch Manning. So I just don't see why a guy who is likely to not be the starter, in my opinion, maybe that's a hot take, likely to not be the starter in weeks 15 to 17. Why is he being drafted ahead of Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, the quarterback 6 last year, Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, who has awesome weapons, and Ben Johnson, and they moved on from Justin Fields to take Caleb Williams? Explain to me what's happening. What are we doing with this Justin Fields price?
It's insane. So I generally agree with you. So the first stat is, guess what do you think his over underline for passing touchdowns is? Now, I've had to like refresh the page like multiple times to like, I'm not gaslighting myself. This is a real stat. What do you think it is?
Approaching it from the yardage perspective, where I thought like maybe he would have been like low 3,000s. I'll give the good faith guess that I think the fans at home might have given 20.5 or 19.5, something like that.
14.5. 14.5. 14.5. Garrett Wilson is projected. Now, here's another bear case. Garrett Wilson, also, by the way, confirming my emotional priors is 2 Ohio State alums. It's very, very important tidbit. But Garrett Wilson, from a point standpoint, they don't have reception lines yet, but if you incorporate Fantasy Pros catches, Garrett and Devontae Smith would be the exact same projection in terms of fantasy points. So from a quarterback standpoint, that's the universal number 1 target. I do like Mason Taylor a lot, but he better be day 1 stud in order for this passing game to work, or
to have a hope of working.
Or CC Jets management sign Keenan and or Amari, ideally both, and then we will reverse our takes on this situation. But
or at least go a little less hard. But I mean, come on, what are they doing going into the season with their current depth chart at wide receiver?
They still own all of their picks next year. I don't think this is a team that is intending to win now super hard. And if it's midseason, and as you said, the offense isn't where it needs to be, they're in their first 8 games, they're only projected to be a favorite once. And most of these lines, I'm looking at it now, there's only 3 of them are within 3 points, which gives maybe 45% chance to win. And then it's just Buffalo, Tampa, Miami, Dallas, Denver, Cincy. Like, that's not a recipe going into the week 9 bye week. And their implied team totals are between 18.5 to 23. And their upside would be considered like a league average team total. And for a quarterback, that's pretty rough. Now, the one silver lining with Fields, I mean, his price is ridiculous. Like, there's no way I can spin this to try to troll and cause a crash out. It's really hard to get there.
And you need him when you take him at pick like 100 or 105. There's no doubt about it. You need him to hit for that team.
10 plus weeks minimum in the lineup, right? And the only case is he's projected as the 3rd highest rushing yards as a quarterback. And this is a very good run blocking line, but I feel that's more of a Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and for the Sharps, Isaiah Davis. That might be the guy here. And from a pass blocking standpoint, unless Membu comes in and he's Penei Sewell 2.0, which he could be, it's possible. We don't know, but there are high hopes for him. It's not a plus line where a guy that struggled in his career to process is going to thrive in that environment as a passer. Now, as a runner, you can do it, but at some point, why are we taking an Anthony Richardson-esque profile? Obviously, I think Fields is a bit better than Richardson at this point, but at his price, it is insane. And
He at least
frankly,
seems more accurate.
Yeah, who's he going to throw to? He can spike in these minus matchups, but Vegas is only projecting a couple average. I'm looking at this 22 is about average. They only have one game at average above average against Carolina week 7, and Dallas and Cleveland at slightly below average, about 22. Like,
wait. Everyone stop the presses. I forgot. He has Alan Lazard to throw to. Oh, it's all going to be fine. Alan Lazard, who got restructured, who's only there because he's Aaron Rodgers' friend. Oh, the guy who got restructured to a league minimum deal. Oh, never mind. It's all going to be fine. Like, come on, man. Like, Alan Lazard. That's going to be who saves him. He is so cooked. For game managers, which I don't even know if Justin Fields is deserving of a game manager title because he hasn't game managed any team to the playoffs or anything like that. But if he's going to game manage, he's got to have weapons. And we know, like, oh, you take a Sam Darnold from a crappy situation, or Daniel Jones maybe from a bad situation, or Baker or Geno. You know, some of these guys, they don't thrive when they don't have the weapons, and when they get them and the great offensive line, they do. Maybe the Jets' offensive line takes a leap. He has the one running back and the one wide receiver. But I would argue that not having competent NFL play at 2 of the 3 wide receiver spots in 11 personnel is so bad. It's so it's hard to really describe how bad that is until you just end up watching these games in September. And it's like, dude, I told you, man, he has 170 passing yards and the team scored 9 points. I don't know what you want me to tell you. This was always going to happen.
It's incredible. And you start from week 1, implied team total of they're against Pittsburgh, 18.5. That's like Tyler Shuck tier at QB 10. And unless they sign someone, and then we'll be a little bit more moderate in the crash out here. But it's unless he's running 15, 20 times a game, which we don't have evidence to believe that's the case. Where is this going to come from? And they've said openly they want to run the ball a lot. There's just not enough projection and offense to make this work. If you look at other offenses, maybe if he was in Minnesota or Tampa, where you're throwing up Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or Justin Jefferson, sure, we could get there, but you have to be. He hasn't shown anything that he can lift these level of talents. Now, as a pro Mason Taylor person, I can at least get behind that a bit, and the defense isn't supposed to be great, but if you're just relying on garbage time rushing, that's like not a strategy for success.
No. And that's why I like Breece Hall a little bit, because I think when it's in garbage time late in these games, he's just going to get spammed with so many screens, and they're just going to have to generate some kind of offense. Now, it could result in essentially the defense keying on him, but he is so explosive that he can still house him, and I think he's just going to accumulate so much volume as a workhorse that he can get there as kind of like a PPR scam and still manage to eke out like 7 or 8 touchdowns over the course of the season. Mason Taylor, you're talking about a volume play. The talent is also pretty interesting there, where he goes in the 180s overall. That's intriguing to me as well. Garrett Wilson, he's starting to get a little bit cheaper, which makes me more interested, because last time DJ Moore played with Justin Fields, he got spammed targets to the tune of 1,300 plus yards. And maybe we just get like it is in the realm of possibility that Garrett Wilson gets like damn near 200 targets from Justin Fields, because literally Fields is such a locked in on the first read guy. He might not know what else to do and just say, bleep it, Garrett Wilson down there somewhere. And that's disproportionately, leading to Garrett Wilson maybe having the highest, relative share of yards for an offense in the league at the wide receiver position. But does that even make him a high-end wide receiver one? I don't know, because will the touchdowns even be there?
I don't think so. Vegas isn't a huge fan of his to have him in the same discussion as Devontae Smith, who's going like 20 places about later, is pretty scary. The week 17, which the best ball folks and season long, you got to think about championship as well, is the 42 implied team total against New England. That scares me a bit for the New England side, where you're hoping for a bit of a shootout for the Drake May bros, the Diggs, the Hunter Henry cheap stacks as well. And in those critical games, they're going to be a very conservative offense, and it just seems like the new staff wants to be a very slow the game down. If the season is late, forget it. It's a good quarterback class, and I'm not as Tyrod pilled as you are. But it doesn't seem like they're not in this win now phase, and the line is a bit questionable unless we see Membu just totally break out. But
in each of the last 2 week 17s, the last 2 years, Tyrod Taylor has played football for the New York Jets. Well, he played for the New York Jets, and then the year before that, he played for the Giants. Now, last year was a bit of a blowout, but he came in there, threw a touchdown to Tyler Conklin to make him a top 5 tight end on the week. Got another touchdown to Garrett Wilson. The man comes in, he delivers. I'm not saying Tyrod is the greatest gift that we've ever had, but if you put a gun to my head and you told me what quarterback being taken in like the top 180 overall and underdog is not starting week 17, I am saying Justin Fields is not that guy. He is, or in that event, he is that guy who is not starting week 17. Tyrod will have taken over the job, not even out of necessity of, oh, Tyrod's so awesome, we got to get this 30-something-year-old back up, but it's like Garrett Wilson will be crashing out. Everyone's going to be crashing out there. Come on, bro. What are we doing here? And you at least make your players a little bit happy when you have a more competent veteran on the bench so that they don't entirely crash out after year and year out of incompetence. And you just tank it up and you basically say, okay, we're building towards Arch Manning. This is a lost year. It was never going to be the Jets year anyway. They're pivoting off the Rodgers disaster, and they're trying to make it work. And I get why you take a swing at Justin Fields, but you didn't even do him the courtesy of getting talent around him. And it is entirely going to break fantasy for all those Garrett Wilson stacks with Fields or Breece Hall stacked with Fields. So the way I'm attacking the Jets, I'll still take Breece Hall. I'll take Garrett Wilson when he falls, and I'll take Mason Taylor. But I personally am not stacking them with Justin Fields.
I'm with you. The Vegas is telling us that passing is not going to be the way for this offense to win. If they do, and if it doesn't work in the critical weeks, not all weeks are made equal. If he's putting up rushing yards and totals early, it's not the same as they're 2-6, 3-7 early in the year, and they just say, you know what, he's not the solution. It's a bridge year anyway. And unless they sign a big name, a Keenan Amari, but in that case, I can't see this offense doing much. Maybe Mason Taylor at price, or Breece is fine just from a volume standpoint, and he's talented, but it does worry me a bit with him just because these game environments, the highest projected game environment is 46. That's like that's like an average NFL game, maybe slightly, maybe 55th percentile game. And that's the highest.
And I'm guessing we're not going to get you on the Allen Lazard click.
Well, if it didn't work with his best bud Rodgers, so I don't see it. I think Fields could make at least Garrett and Mason Taylor could do decent. He at least with DJ, with Kmet, he at least made them like palatable. Kmet 2nd round pick, Mason Taylor 2nd round pick. At least that could, but it's at his price, it's insane. It's hard to fathom. Like he's plus 500 to hit 3,500 passing yards.
How many games do we have without the full analysis, gut check. Jets are like a 4, 5, 6 win team max. Is there any chance that they prove us wrong and have a 10-win season, or does it kind of feel, at least to me, like this team is kind of just capped? There's some 5.5-win team total teams, where it's like, oh, maybe if this young player makes this crazy ascension, but I'm like, where does that happen within this roster? I just don't see it.
And the Jets defense isn't projected to be good either. They have a lot of hard opponents as well. And I think the Jets we've thought of in the last like decade plus as this elite defense that's constantly held back by the passing game. Now they're kind of assuming they're more closer to average. I think it's just a classic rebuilding team with a new coaching staff. I definitely think from looking at the schedule, they're a 12-point underdog to the Baltimore week 12. That you get just demolished by the Ravens. You're 3-8. It's over. Like,
yeah, it's true.
That would be probably the closest to the last straw.
That kind of feels,
and that could be or easily earlier. There's the Bengals at week 8. You just get like belted by Joe Burrow and you're 2-6. Like, why? If he's not
why
do
we keep going? And it ultimately feels like, so week 9 is their bye. Sometimes teams will make a change after then. That feels a little early for Fields to get benched to me, but I think kind of like the Vegas implied line where it's like week 12, week 13. But again, we're playing, we're all playing best ball here. Weeks 15 to 17, you need your quarterback to be playing, especially if you took him in the 8th, 9th, 10th round. You can't add drop. You're cooked. If, in a redraft league, if you want to give it a shot in a redraft league, and that's your thing, and you want that rushing Konami code chance, hey, give it a shot in a single quarterback league. You can drop him and go from there. Maybe he gives you some weeks, but you're locked in best ball and you can't pivot off. Everyone just sit with this. Justin Fields is bad. Just like last year when Anthony Richardson, I was telling you, don't take Anthony Richardson in the 6th round. We knew he was bad. And before that, Trey Lance was like a top 100 pick at a point. You knew he was bad. So you just got to, sometimes fantasy football ADPs are like just ranked by the best lies we can tell ourselves. And people have convinced themselves that Justin Fields is going to be it. And you just got to stop lying to yourself. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. And it's definitely not going to happen when he doesn't have enough weapons. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Shawn and Sus have officially stamped Justin Fields on our do not draft list for best ball 2025. Don't do it. If you do it, you're silly. But let us know in the comments if we're the silly ones. Tell us, are you building out the Justin Fields stacks? Where are you at with them? From Shawn, from Sus, like, subscribe, do all the stuff. Peace.